I do think it's a very interesting topic, though, and it involves the NBA and it involves NASCAR. So NASCAR has always had this reputation of if you are not a 30-year-old white guy in the Midwest drinking a Bud Light who watches NASCAR. Those are the only guys who watch NASCAR, as if you let natural perception tell you, or what you commonly hear. And I think it's interesting because with NASCAR, and I have my own personal reasons why I don't watch NASCAR, I just don't find it exciting. I just don't. And that's always how I base things. It's like I either like it or I don't. I generally don't really break it down into a whole lot of reasons of why I'm not into this or why I am into this. I turn on a NASCAR race and I'm like, yeah, whatever. So taking that logic, are you able to make the case or able to see down the future, down the line, this becoming a problem for the NBA? Is the NBA becoming too black? And let me clarify something here really quick before I keep going down, because I'm gonna show all my different scenarios and why I think and how this train of thought came into my head. Is I will be one of the first people to say the NBA, due to there being so many black players and the way they grow up a lot of times and constantly playing and being competitive against each other and playing from such a young age, it's more exciting with a bunch of black guys than a bunch of white guys, flat out. And if you look at this 50s and 60s NBA versus now, it's clearly more exciting as far as athleticism, the overall skill sets, and that's, translate to a higher percentage of black people in the game than white people. But at that same time, do you alienate the white fan who's going to be like, I can never be like him. I'm not ever going to be able to jump like that, run like that. I simply can't do those kind of things. Look at baseball, right? Like, baseball has always excelled in the fact of anyone can be on a baseball field, and you can always see yourself in any baseball player. We just had an ALCS where Aaron Judge was the best player on one team, 6'7", 260 pounds, a monster. And then you have Jose Altuve, who's a little 5'5" Dominican guy, Dominican and diminutive. You have had throughout history, you've got guys like a Hank Aaron and a Willie Mays who black people can look and see like, hey, I look like him, I could be him. You have, obviously throughout history, you have your Lou Gehrig's, you have, if you want to go modern, you have Kershaw, you have Justin Turner, which are these average built, average athletic white guys. Baseball has always had people of every color, creed, ethnicity, like there is someone for you to look at and say, I look like him or I feel like him on every baseball team. Basketball doesn't necessarily have that. I mean, if you look at the true non-black superstars in the league right now, how many guys do you really have? You have Porzingis in New York. I really like the two centers. I always get them confused, Jokic and Nurkic. But the majority of guys, LeBron, Anthony Davis, Giannis, Kawhi Leonard, a John Wall. Really, I mean, the NBA is so black that one of the arguments are dark skin versus light skin dudes. They really, like, there is a genuine disdain for like a Steph Curry because he's light skinned compared to a John Wall because he's dark skinned. And there's that, they talk about Draymond Green not getting away with things because he's dark skinned, whereas a Klay Thompson does because he's light skinned. Like that's how different of a color shift there is in the NBA compared to other sports. And I will also make this case. I think one of the things that helps the NBA is the fact that the difference between the NBA and NASCAR is the NBA, you can pick up a basketball at 4, 5, 6 years old, and you can start dribbling the basketball, start shooting the basketball in like little kid hoops, and then as you get older, you get a bigger and bigger one. And you can play from a really young age, and you can basically play your entire life, no matter if you're black, white, Mexican, whatever you are. Whereas with NASCAR, yes, you cannot get a keys at 4 or 5 years old and start driving. Hopefully. Please, parents, don't let anyone who's 4 or 5 years old drive a car. Does that necessarily save the scenario of the white kid who's 13, 14 years old, or 12, 13 years old, trying to figure out, okay, well, am I going to pursue football, basketball, or baseball going into high school? And he's looking at it, and he's like, I mean, I can compete with the baseball players. I look like them. I look like some of the guys on the football team. I don't look, act, or can do anything like those guys on the basketball team. Basketball, I'm out. Like I said, this is not a topic in which I have a strong opinion as like, I think, yes, it does hurt, or no, it doesn't. But it's something I think that should be talked about. I think it's something that should be discussed. I would love to hear your guys' opinions. Because like I said, it is a genuine concern. Is like, do you lose fans and audience because you are only really catering, I don't know if catering is the right word, but it's what I'm going to use for now, to one specific demographic or one specific audience. It's like, you take something like, and I think Donald Glover's a genius at this, you take something like BET, which really just its demographic is black people. And that's great. That's fine. I love BET. Then you take someone like Donald Glover, who's become this otherworldly star because he kind of transitioned from rap, BET, to more, not mainstream music in terms of like popularity, but more getting away from really hard hip-hop, underground type rap music to where his last album was, I didn't really care for his last album, but it was noises, and it was more something more people could relate to. His noise funk, as me and some of my friends like to call it. And now Atlanta, whereas Atlanta's, yes, has definite black influences, anybody can see themselves, or it opens itself up to a much wider and larger audience. And to me, that is a big deal. And I think that's something that needs to be looked at as, is the NBA going to head the route of a Donald Glover? Or is the NBA going to go down the route of someone like, I'll throw out a couple guys, Young Jeezy, T.I., staying in hip-hop, where they're just going black focused and they're just retaining that audience and they're just appealing to that audience. I think it's an interesting argument. Hopefully you guys agree. Like I said, I'd love to know your guys' opinions. If you have anything that you'd like to say, please comment down below. Let's try to get this, and I hate to ask this, let's try to get this video trending. Like this one and my soccer video for a soccer team in San Diego, I think are just very pivotal and key talking points and things that can actually make a difference if they're discussed and brought up. So if we could get this video trending, forget the fact, like I don't care about the monetization part of it, but the actual talking point and reason behind this, I think are major things that need to be discussed, need to be put out there, and the world needs to hear.